So thanks everyone for joining us today. We've got a really good webinar lined up. We are talking about ROI generating campaigns, and that is stuff that we love to chat about. We've got some wonderful clients and association professionals joining us to talk about some campaigns that they've been running in their associations. These are all things that you can learn from and start implementing within your organization as well. So we're going to start out with some intros, and then we're going to go through a quick overview of Prop Fuel. A lot of the campaigns that we're talking about today are all coming through the Prop Fuel system. So if you're not familiar with it, we can give you an introduction to that. And for those of you who are familiar with it, then you get a little bit of a refresher. But starting off with some introductions, Robson, if you want to go ahead and share the slides. I'm Brittany. If you've been on a Prop Fuel webinar before, I am likely a new face for you. And if this is your first Prop Fuel webinar, drop in the chat, just say I, because I'm really interested in seeing who is new to the Prop Fuel webinar family. But I'm also a new face to you as well. So I started at Prop Fuel back in May. So prior to working at Prop Fuel, I was doing membership and marketing roles within the association space, primarily medical associations in the Chicagoland area. So a lot of these topics are very near and dear to my heart because it's what I've been working in for nearly the last decade. But yeah, I'm very happy to be a part of the Prop Fuel team and excited to help out with the webinar. So go ahead and swap to the next slide, Robson. Michael, I'm going to have you give the next intro.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Hain. I am the Chief Operating Officer for the International Association for the Study of Lung Cancer, the IASLC. We are a 501c3 with a large membership component, 10,000 multidisciplinary professionals, patients, and patient advocates globally who are unified trying to cure lung cancer in the 21st century. So I have been with ISLC as COO going on almost 2 years now. And in that role, I have 5 departments that report to me, membership being one of them. And I work very closely with that team on our engagement strategies, which we've been revamping together since I got here. Before that, I've got 20 years of experience in the association space, 10 years with a association management company, working primarily with healthcare associations, and then 7 years working with an association management software company. So I'm excited to be here and kind of share some of the things we've learned as we've gone through this journey. Kari?
Thank you. Go ahead, Carrie.
Hey everyone, I'm Carrie Volova with the Air and Space Forces Association. We are a nonprofit that exists to support the world's greatest Air Force and Space Force and all of our airmen, guardians, and their families. In my role, I'm the Vice President for Member and Field Relations, so I get to lead a few teams. Shout out to all my friends that are on today. Thanks for joining. But we work together on AFA's membership. We have 120 plus thousand members, and we've been using Prop Fuel for about 3 years and love it. In addition, I also get to oversee all of our chapters and our volunteer and governance and board support for the association, all of our philanthropic programs like our Wounded Airmen and Guardians program, all of our military family programs, and some of our education programs. So we're busy. We love it. I've worked for the association 20 years. And so I'm excited to talk to you guys today.
Thanks, Carrie. Lauren?
Hi, my name's Lauren Till. I am the Senior Website Administrator and Analyst for the Pennsylvania Medical Society. I have been with PA Med for 18 years now. I oversee the user experiences when it comes to our members with the website, emails, social interactions, all of those kind of things. I like to view myself as the bridge between IT and communications. I speak both languages, and I am able to help build our association and communications around our physician members. We advocate and educate all specialties across the state of Pennsylvania. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining. One other probably familiar face for most of you if you've been on, again, a PropFuel webinar before. One other person joining us is Ryan Graham. He's our CRO at PropFuel. He is going to give a quick introduction of himself and of the PropFuel system. So again, the campaigns that we're looking through today, those are all coming from that PropFuel system. So just to give you some background as to what that methodology entails.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. And Robson, you can flip to the next slide. Michael, Carrie, Lauren, thanks so much for being here again. So I'm Ryan Graham. I've been in the association space for quite a while, lead our sales and marketing team, and live in Kansas City. That's enough about me. We can get into PropFuel. I'm pretty boring relative to that. So if you're not familiar with PropFuel, so we're software. We have a software platform. We work with about 260, 270 associations. And the thing that we see is a lot of associations want to be able to create a personalized and relevant experience for members, where a member feels like they're getting access to the resources that matter to them, that align with their needs. They're being communicated with about stuff that matters to them. However, a lot of associations lack the right data to be able to do that, and a system that really listens to members and understands them. So a lot of associations focus their effort or just kind of know that what they need to do is focus their effort around broadcasting information at members and telling members about everything. So what PropFuel does that's unique is we ask members questions, and then we capture insight from the answers that the members give, and then we use that to take action. So very specifically, we primarily do that over email today. We have expanded to an SMS product where we're starting to do that more, and then we'll be expanding early next year into a website product that does that as well. And Robson, you can flip to the next slide if you don't mind. So this lends itself really well to use cases like these that you see here, and we'll be touching on a lot of these use cases today. But things that are use cases across the different phases of the member life cycle. So renewals, lapsed member win-backs, dormant members, the front of the cycle to new member acquisition, nurturing new member onboarding. There's some really powerful use cases around profile building, so building out data in your AMS without the friction of having members log into your website or log into their AMS profile. So you can see that. I don't need to read all these use cases. You can see them, but I hope that's helpful context. So thanks.
Thanks, Ryan. Okay, before we dive into some of these examples of the campaigns that we're going through, if anyone has any questions at any point, feel free to just put that in the chat. When you do, make sure that that to blue box is to everyone, not just the hosts and the panelists. All right, go ahead and switch it over, Robson, and then Carrie, I'll let you take it away.
Alrighty, so we have a ton of different campaigns that we love, but we picked two to share with you guys today. The first one I'm going to talk about is a piece of our win back and retention campaigns, but it's not the overall campaign. As I mentioned earlier, we have 120,000 members and a lot of different member types. We are a very diverse population. So the way we communicate people, we try to do a lot of different segmentation. So our overall retention campaigns are pretty elaborate in how we do them, but across all of them, we were seeing one common theme. And so while the campaigns overall looked like they were successful and continue to be successful, we were seeing that when people selected one of the options as we were asking them to renew, when we ask people, how would you like to renew, or how can we get you renewed today? One of the options is, I'd like to renew online right now. And so what that actually does is it has a workflow that takes them right to our Fontiva page. We're on Salesforce Fontiva for our AMS, and prompts them to log in and renew right away. And I would say probably about 80% were actually doing it, but we started to look more at that 20% that their membership didn't advance. So they weren't actually completing the process. And so what we chose to do with this subset, which it was a small subset, but it was basically renewals that we were just leaving on the table, is we said, hey, let's create something that's personalized in a targeted campaign to those people that expressed an interest and at least told us that they wanted to renew online, but then just didn't follow through. So next slide, please. So what we actually did, and we did all of this through workflows in PropFuel, but we took anybody, we created a list and used that functionality and created anybody that had said, yes, I plan to renew online, but their expiration date didn't advance. And so it was nice that we were able to use lists and not even have to go back to Salesforce to write the report. And we gave it some time just to make sure that they weren't also going to renew a different way or called because they had technical difficulties. But over on the left is the email that goes out to them. And it's actually, most of the introductory emails will come from me or my colleague Gail, who's our director of membership. But for these ones, we actually set them up so they were coming directly from the person on the customer service team that would actually be fielding their calls if they picked up the phone or hit reply to the email. We do have a dedicated customer service team because our organization is so big. And so in this case, my wonderful colleague, Alex, the email came from him. So if somebody just hit reply, it would go right back to him. And we just said, hey, you told us before you were gonna be renewing, but we didn't see it happen. And we give them a lot of additional options for how they could then renew. And all of these trigger workflows. So for instance, if they say, give me a call, I want to do it on the phone. We do have a high population of our membership that joined at the end of World War II, and it's aging members, and they like to do things on the phone as much as we push them to online stuff. And so with that, it actually triggers a internal alert to Alex or whoever this campaign is set up from at the time. And it's going to say, hey, Alex, quick win, give this member a call and get them renewed. We also have ones where they can get invoices either through an automatic one that will be attached to an email, or we sometimes put ones in the mail because we still have a lot of our members that like to actually write a check and mail it back into us. And we will take money any way they want to give it to us. So we give them all the options. The other thing we added in here was also an option to, hey, I changed my mind, please cancel my membership. They don't get that option until this campaign or our very last part of the overall retention campaign for their normal renewals. The very last effort is when they get that. But we also do a lot of our retention renewals, excuse me, in the mail. And so we wanted to make sure that we didn't continue to send waste the money in postage, asking people to renew and give them the option to actually cancel. But this campaign, for us, our membership is going to be anywhere from $20 to $125, depending on your term and your type you get. So the fact that we renewed, and there are 2 drips, that's why you only see the 210 answers on the first, but between the 2 drips, we renewed since February, I believe this one was, or January, excuse me, 281 members, and it equated to about 21,000, a little bit over in revenue, which this isn't the big chunk of our revenue because that's going to come in through the initial campaigns. However, this is a good example because it is a small subset of our renewals, but it's money that we were just leaving on the table just because we didn't do one additional ask, but only targeting the people that had already expressed some type of interest. We can't talk to 120,000 members, but that's why we love PropFuel, is because it helps give us information about how to spend our time and who we need to talk to that will likely be a quicker win.
Yeah, Carrie, I think one of the things that's really great about this too is that, again, these people had already told you that they intended on renewing, and you had noticed that they hadn't yet. And so you knew that they were going to, but you were able to give them options. So if in a standard like broadcast email, most people, if they ask if someone's going to renew and they say yes, there's not really much follow-up there, or if there is, it's going to require a lot of work on the member. But you're giving them these options here to help you better understand and help the association better understand like what's holding them back, how can we help you? And even just seeing some of the folks who are like, oh, I got sidetracked, I'll renew online now, or hey, I'm gonna mail something in, don't worry, thanks for the reminder. Like that's huge.
Yeah, so that's all I have on that one. We can go to, I have one other example to share. Okay, so as you guys can imagine, if you have military members, they are moving around a lot. They're the way we address them, their ranks are constantly changing. It was presenting a huge challenge for us because we're trying to do this conversational engagement, but the quickest way to turn somebody off is if you use a rank from 5 years ago. And it's because we have to rely on people updating their information to make sure that we have the most current information. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Over the years, we had tried a lot of different efforts, from putting calls in our print magazine, asking people to call in and update their information, or doing call campaigns, or sending out emails saying, please update your information. Over the last 2 years, we've done 2 campaigns, both with a Ferris Bueller theme, which I'll share on the next slide. And it has been our first time that I honestly feel like we've really been successful in getting profile updates from a digital campaign. Next slide, please. So what we did here is we kind of played on the wonderful Ferris Bueller quote that life moves pretty fast, and if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. And so that's the email that goes out. And I will say, I don't know what all of your organizations are like. I work for a military organization, and sometimes we are exceptionally serious, by the books. The way I talk to my members in PropFuel is very unique to the rest of our organization. So I was a little bit hesitant to go with such a lighthearted campaign. I also have a birthday campaign where I wrote a poem to our members. But between that campaign and this campaign have been our most popular campaigns in terms of people that take the time to just hit reply and say, I just love this campaign, or you made me laugh. And so it's been great from that perspective as well. But what set this campaign apart, from my point of view in terms of success, is that email right there, you see, we actually merged in the data that was currently on file. Normally, when we had done any type of emails out, we would say, hey, do you mind clicking here and updating your profile? But what we did, the problem with that is then everyone's like, oh no, I'm sure I did that a year ago. Or yeah, no problem. I'm sure they've got my most up-to-date information. So what we actually did, and you can see here on the left, this is from a test email I sent myself. So it's all showing not on file, but it actually merged directly from what we have in Salesforce. So it would say branch of service, United States Space Force, or whatever is on file. And it would say not on file if the field was blank. And then we just ask them, hey, is this correct? If they say, yep, thanks for asking. Well, that's great for us because that also tells us that, hey, this information is correct. It takes them to a landing page with a great Ferris Bueller quick clip or GIF, and then we're able to just move forward. But what is more impressive is if they say, nope, let's get it updated, then that takes them to, we did an embedded check-in through PropFuel. And so to them, it just looks like a form that they're filling out. And whatever they put in those forms, it automatically writes back to Salesforce with whatever their update is. And so it's not creating any work for my team other than, I will say our numbers were higher than this because some people just chose to reply, especially if they were in the Pentagon. Sometimes we have issues with people filling out forms on their work computers. But these are just the ones that came through PropFuel. And this is actually, if I had pulled last year's stats, it would have been a lot more because we did this campaign last year. And then for this year, I excluded anybody that had responded last year because I don't want to be annoying asking them every year to respond if they just gave us an update. But as you can see, we got a great response, and this is really important for our mission work. So if I look at almost 3,000 address updates, those are addresses where I'm able to then affiliate them with their local chapter at the base that they're at. And so we can better connect them and actually say, hey, let me connect you with this local resource that's there to support you. And overall, we just got a ton of people saying, hey, we love Ferris Bueller. This is a great campaign. And it just was a lighthearted way to ask people for administrative information.
Yeah, this is incredible. And that's the other piece too, is that tying this back into like the ROI. If you're sending renewal invoices to old addresses, you're just wasting that money and that paper, and it's not getting back to that member and getting them back into the organization. So this is an incredible response rate. All right. Thank you, Carrie.
No
All right, we're
problem.
going to move on to the next example. So next slide, Robson. All right, Michael, take it away.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Brittany. We're going to share one of the first campaigns that we did in Prop Fuel, and I am representing a really brilliant membership team led up by Kelsey Wood and Katie Marr and Savannah Spakes are knee deep working with this product all the time. And I've been a big fan of kind of the interrogative approach, and especially what I want to share today is not just the result of what we did with lapsed members, but also some of the data and intelligence that we got out of this kind of approach that helps us form better programs and services for our members going forward. So ISLC has a 90-day grace period for members. So when their membership expires, they actually remain members of the association for up to 90 days. But once those 90 days are done, then they are officially lapsed. And before we started working with Prop Fuel, we had, to put it the way that our membership director talks about it, sporadic email reminders, maybe once in a while, or other attempts, but it was very ad hoc. Maybe we should reach out to a few people that have lapsed, see if they want to rejoin, that kind of approach. When we brought Prop Fuel in, we decided it was a great opportunity to create more of a targeted conversational or interrogative kind of approach. Not only asking about intention to renew, but also trying to highlight the value in that proposition. And as I'll show you, digging out some intelligence on why people would not be interested in renewing. So Robson, if you can go to the next slide. The campaign consisted of 4 check-ins. I'm going to share 3 that had kind of the most traction in the campaign. The first one was very simple. Are you interested in renewing your membership? We notice you haven't done it. We want to keep you connected to your benefits. Yes, I want to renew. I haven't decided yet. No, I don't want to renew, or I've already renewed. And as you can see, we had a really nice response rate on that type of interrogative kind of question. And 65% of the people that answered said, yes, I want to renew my membership now. The questions that are related to no, I don't want to renew my membership, all led to additional opportunities to kind of share why they're not interested in renewing. And I can share some of that toward the end of the campaign. But right away from the very beginning of this campaign, we were seeing an uptick. The yes, I want to renew my membership led them to the login. We, like Carrie, use Fontiva as our AMS. And so they were able to log in and renew their membership right at that point. Anybody that renewed their membership or indicated that they are not going to plan to renew their membership were excluded from any other further check-ins, but we were also enrolling people that were aging out of the 90-day grace period. We ran this campaign from May of 23 through July of this year. And so during that time, we had certain people that moved out because they either renewed or indicated they didn't want to renew, and we didn't want to continue to bother them at that point. But we also had new people entering it as they were, their grace period was expiring. Robson, next slide. So this was check-in number 2, based on that kind of conversational style. We haven't heard from you. We can help you reactivate your membership. Would you like to rejoin? And again, yes, I want to rejoin, or I need some more time, or no, I don't want to rejoin this year. And again, as you can see, the number of responses is starting to decline. As you know, we have fewer people that have already decided, but we're still getting a really nice response rate. 73% of the people that are responding to the email say, yes, I want to rejoin now. And the way that we treated this whole cadre of people that were signing back up, some of them may have decided over time that they wanted to rejoin the association, but from our perspective, by asking the simple question, do you want to be a part of ISLC? They're signing up. This has found revenue for us that we might have been leaving on the table otherwise, being big believers that the longer a member goes without being a member of the association and realizing or feeling they can live without being a member of the ISLC, we're working against ourselves. So this was really kind of creating that proactive conversational opportunity to make those people reconsider joining. So Robson, next slide. All right. And then this was the third and final check-in. And again, you can see the responses are coming down. Now, we did ask a slightly different question here. Yes, I would like to share with you how I'd like to renew. This did open the opportunity for staff to reach out and work with people that for whatever reason, and remember, we have an international audience, so who knows what issues may create barriers in terms of them actually signing up for renewal. So we did want to create opportunities for a member to indicate, yes, I really want to renew, but maybe I'm struggling with it. Either I'm not fully available, fully understanding how to do it. I forgot my login. Who knows what it could be? But we wanted to create that personal touch point. But the vast majority of people that said, yes, I am going to renew, or I'm considering renewing, I am going to renew, went ahead and renewed online at that point in contact. So at the end of this campaign, we had targeted 1,784 former members. 402 of them renewed their membership. That's about $75,000 in dues revenue that, like I said, from our perspective, we would have seen it as revenue that we would have lost. Some of it may have come back, but I don't think all $75,000 would have come back into us. So this is, from my perspective, as leader of the organization, these people were already members. They were already sold on the value. They had already been involved. We had done all the hard work. We just needed to extend that invitation. Do you want to come back and be part of the community again? And that's a nice response rate, not just people walking away saying, no, I can live without it. The other part that I want to share that's not really shared in the slides is we did gather intelligence. People did go through and tell us why they did not want to renew their membership or what issues they were having. One, as you would expect, over half of those responses are the cost is too high, which tells us we have work to do still on our value alignment and making sure that we're communicating the value of involvement with ISLC more effectively. We can subsegment those people if we want to, reach out to them with a later campaign saying, hey, we are adding additional features and functions to our community to make it more engaging, more collaborative. Would you like to consider rejoining? So that's a nice micro segmentation, if you will, of the market, which I really enjoy. The other thing, though, that we found out about it was the number of people that said, I'm retiring. Well, we do offer a membership for people that are retiring or retired. So, highlighting to them, did you know that this is available to you and you can remain part of the community and you can be involved in mentoring or other type of opportunities as we build those out? That's really nice. And then we had a bunch of people that indicated, I've moved into a new position. And when we were talking about this data, what we discussed was we need to dig into that a little bit more. What does that mean when they say they've moved into a new position? We're a multidisciplinary organization that's really centered around the cause of curing lung cancer. So what is that new position that they felt I no longer had value by being a member of ISLC in that new position? Does that open new segments or new membership categories that we should consider? Or is it that we're not communicating again, even though you're not in the old role that you had, either clinically or academically, you still have value in helping us advance the mission of conquering thoracic cancers. So I enjoy the fact that these type of campaigns and this approach not only create an ROI for us on the financial front, they create an ROI for us on the business intelligence front that allows us to get smarter and do better program design moving forward. And I think that covers it, Brittany.
Awesome. Yeah, that's incredible. I think you nailed it on the head with that last sentence where I think a lot of when people think ROI, it's typically they're relating that directly to obviously like the dollars, right? But there is so much value to that insight that you can get if you're doing these types of campaigns and you're asking members questions and you're getting feedback from them, that can really help. So that's amazing. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks.
All right, next slide. Lauren, you are up.
So I'm going to share a story about what I like to say the voodoo of prop fuel. So when prop fuel first came across my desk, it came across my desk as another data collection point. And I didn't need another data collection point. I have my website profiling users. I have Google Analytics. I have email users. I had enough data. I didn't need another data point. And I dismissed it and moved on from it. And then I attended ASAE last year and saw the flashy yellow prop fuel booth. So I went up to Ryan and actually was there probably for an hour, not only grilling Ryan, but seeing prop fuel and how this conversational way works. And the difference that this isn't just a data collection point, this is a conversation that my members are that weren't having with me at the time. So we have a membership. We have a calendar year membership, like Michael and Carrie. We go from January to December in a membership. However, we start renewal conversations in September. So we are pushing our messages in September, October, November, all the way through the end of the year for renewing for the next calendar year. So like right now I'm in my renewal cycle for 2025. We also have a grace period. We do not drop members until the end of February. So at the beginning of February, I think it was like late January, early February, we were already resigned with these people aren't coming back. We're not going to get back, whatever. But after, my in-depth conversations with the Prop Fuel team, I brought it back up internally and said, why don't we just try this Prop Fuel thing? Let's just see what they're talking about. Last ditch effort, because again, we were already resolved to these members weren't coming back. Now, through our renewal period, we are emailing constantly. Every email that goes out, whether it's a new marketing piece or our newsletter, it has a renewal message in it. The website has a dynamic message on it. Please renew. We have mailings after mailings after mailings with invoices saying, please renew. We have staff who take 2 days a year, the entire building shuts down and does nothing but call members to try and get renewals. So after all of these efforts for 6 months, in February, we decided, you know what? Before we drop, they've got 3 weeks and we're gonna drop them. Big deal. Let's try this Prop Fuel. Let's see what happens. So next slide, please, Robson. So we were just like, whatever, let's send an email. It's a yes, no. Are you coming or not? This is 0 engagement users, people who weren't answering any of our other asks that felt like a million asks for us. We sent the email out. And then this is when the voodoo happened. With about an hour, we saw more than 100 responses in the first hour to a group who I haven't heard from in more than 6 months. I know I had 100 of them responding in the first hour. By the end of that day, I think I was over 250 responses. By the end of day 4, I had 600 people answering. It got to the point where, and it was comical, every time we opened Prop Fuel, the number went up by like 20, 25. I'm not talking 1. We were consistently going up. And I was like, what is happening? And I also was ready to call out Prop Fuel, like, you're floating these numbers, you're padding these, you're making yourself look good. If I didn't have the money in the bank, if I didn't have the renewals in my AMS, I would have thought they were full of crap and this was not real, because this was a 0 engaged group that we got 15% response rate on. A 72% open rate from 0. It was like a very comical, magical experience that I remember in the beginning. I even was like, this is hard. I don't have time to be doing this every time I want to do a campaign. It probably took us a couple hours to like think through the logic from the start to the finish. And I was like, I don't have this kind of time to be doing this. And I had to tail between my legs, call Prop Fuel and be like, just kidding. We'll see you in a couple we'll see you in a couple months. When we realized the difficult on our end, we were able to connect with the Prop Fuel team and utilize their experience. We started working with managed services to help us build our campaigns faster. Our Prop Fuel team answers every question with a video. Oh, here's how you do this button. Here's how you do this button. They provide us with the roadmaps that are in the system already, which are a lot of the use cases like Michael and Carrie and I are talking about are already kind of built in there for you. Since February, and now that we're in our second renewal phase, we now have about a dozen different prop fuel campaigns going at any point in time. We have a few drip campaigns, which are kind of emailing people and connecting with them in various small instances. We've done profile updates of getting our members who physicians are changing from their students to their residency to their physician practice to their retirement. We started with the yes, no question. We got a 65% yes right out the bat with just shy of 600 new renewals that came in. People who said, I haven't been seeing your emails this whole time. I didn't know you were trying to get me. We were able to kind of get whitelisted or new emails for them for our regular communications. This year, our current renewal, we extended the questions a bit more to, like Carrie said, yes, I want to pay now, or yes, I want to pay later. Just within the first, we're the end of October now, we've got a 28% open rate, engagement rate, a 63% open rate. We are continuing to see our success through, it hasn't even been a year yet for us with utilizing prop fuel and the advantage of the information that we're getting back. I'm retiring. Okay, great. I'm leaving the state because I'm a med student and I'm going back to Michigan or wherever they came from. That's valuable data that we're not mailing to these people things anymore. I'm not emailing them to them anymore. And it's also opened up our membership team to having conversations in person or over the phone that didn't exist before. So we laugh, and I know the prop fuel team, when they see me at the IC, like to laugh at my still here, even though I was like, this is crap. I don't know why we're doing this. And yeah, every hour we were stalking the numbers to have such a success rate at the end.
Lauren, I remember shortly after I started, I went to MMC and you were one of the first people to come up to our table and you were just blown away. Your reaction was hilarious. I love that. It's good
Sometimes
stuff.
the I don't know the best way to say this. The biggest doubters, Lauren, I don't mean that in such a way.
It's fine. I was.
Once you see it, it's like, whoa, can become such strong advocates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think simplifying that process for them, showing this group something new, giving them the option to like have a voice and share that feedback for you, that can all make a difference too. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, all three of you. Those are awesome use cases. I'm going to cover a few other use cases. Robson, do you want to flip to the next? You go to the next one beyond this. So I'm going to go over two different use cases from clients, and that'll be kind of the tail end, and then we'll wrap things up from there. So this first one is an interesting one. So this is ANP, American Association of Nurse Practitioners. They have a large membership. I think they have a membership of upwards of 90,000 members-ish. Pretty sophisticated, complex marketing operations. So when they came on board, and a lot of clients, I don't know about a lot, but a number of clients do this. And I think we encourage this. This is effective. They did kind of an A/B test. So they ran a traditional campaign using Real Magnet, and they went out to prospective members, and it was kind of a follow-up from their annual conference. It was kind of tied into that, going out to prospective members. And so, naturally, it was a heavy informational campaign, just kind of like the fundamental things we've been talking about here, with Real Magnet. And over the course of 5 weeks, they generated 444 new members and $66,000 in revenue. They took then another portion of that prospective member list and ran it through a prop fuel campaign, employing the prop fuel method. So this was one of the questions. So it was something along the lines of, hey, why are you waiting to join AANP? And then they had a series of other questions beyond that. So basically it was going to the same kind of audience, just employing the prop fuel method. So as a direct comparison, within 2 weeks, they were able to generate 560 new members and $84,000 in revenue. So just an awesome example of the gain, so to speak, that can be attained from taking a different approach altogether. Shorter period of time, obviously less than half of the period of time, more members, more revenue. And then what we did from there was we used this for a win-back campaign. And I don't remember the numbers of what they had with Real Magnet for their win-back campaign, but basically the win-back campaign from PropFuel over a matter of about, I want to say it was 45 days or so. Brittany, you may remember better than me. We have a case study that outlines some of the details. It generated almost 1,200 won-back new members and $126,000 in revenue. So for them, you know, and this really is kind of a key point. It was a matter of seeing that, hey, this is really good in terms of applying PropFuel to these challenges: new member acquisition, lapsed member win back, et cetera. PropFuel doesn't cover over everything. I mean, we're not going to do everything. You know, it's naturally you're still using Real Magnet, Pardot, Marketing Cloud, Constant Contact for series of different things that are more broadcast information focused. PropFuel just happens to be really good at that conversion, capture deeper insight to know how to engage someone and those use cases that align in that way. Robson, we go to the next one because this is one that is it kind of touches on some stuff that Carrie and I think everyone kind of talked around different things like this. So in terms of profile building, so MSTA, Missouri State Teachers Association, they have a lot of different profile building campaigns. One of them is what they call the spring cleanup. And so what they wanted to do is they wanted to verify members' addresses and their preferred email. So it's similar to some of the components of what Carrie was showing. So basically like these kind of the gray fields in there are the merged fields from Nimble AMS, from their AMS platform. And so then they have members answering, you know, is that correct? If they answer no, they bring them to a page. As Carrie said, it looks like just a page with form questions. But then when they add their address to it and all that information, that automatically writes back to Nimble to update that. They took it a step further. So they also have a physical, or they have a magazine that they have historically printed and shipped to all members. If you're a member, you just automatically get it on a quarterly basis. And they kind of invested the time and the money to make a digital version of that. They didn't have a ton of consumption or, you know, readership of the digital version. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to figure out who like definitively does not want to get the physical copy anymore, because they knew if they could get that data, they could just not send that to people and probably save a good amount of money. So they were able to ask a question. So after you answered with your address and all of that, it branched to another question. And the question was, how would you like to get this school and community magazine? And it's the question here at the bottom that you can see. And if you answer digital only, what that's going to do is automatically write to Nimble AMS to a field called, I think it was something along the lines of like, get physical copy of magazine. And if you answer digital only, write the answer no to that. And they use that to automatically opt people out of the physical print and ship magazine. About 11,000 members said digital only out of their 40 some odd thousand members, 45,000 members, which is significant, you know, 25+%. So they were able to opt them out and save $35,000 because now they're just not printing and shipping a magazine to them on a quarterly basis. They did something really similar with member cards. I don't know if anyone has member cards, and you know, they were doing the same exact thing. They were printing and shipping physical, you know, member cards on an annual basis or some basis like that. They did the same exact thing. I don't remember the numbers on it, but it had a similar impact. It was saving a good amount of money not doing that. So that's a really simple thing that, you know, again, from a profile standpoint, is really easy to do with PropFuel. But the bigger side of that is then what we're doing essentially is we're aligning with the preferences of members. So we're showing them like, hey, we really want to make your experience align with your preferences. We don't want to just send everything to you just because. We really want to tailor that experience to you and what matters to you. So kind of good set of use cases. Robson, you go to the next slide, I think. Brittany, you want to?
Sure can.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So those are the examples that we're covering today. If the concept of prop fuel is interesting to you, if it is something that is new to you and you're interested in trying that, we are doing a workshop on renewals on Tuesday, November 18th. It'll go from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. Essentially what this is it's an opportunity for people who have never used prop fuel to get into the system, try it out. You can actually send a renewal campaign, like test out a renewal campaign through the system and see how it works for your organization. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can scan the QR code here. And I'm also dropping in a link to register for that in the chat. If you are more interested in a one-on-one type of conversation and you want to see how prop fuel can be used within your association with specific use cases that go beyond this renewal piece, you can also schedule a one-on-one call with our team where you'll meet with Ryan or our other teammate, Mike. So Robson just dropped a link to that schedule as well in the chat. All right, on to the next. And at this point, we're going to open it up for questions. So if anyone has questions, feel free to go ahead and drop those into the chat. We had a couple come in as people were presenting. So I believe there was one for Lauren. With your campaign, what was the time frame between the outreaches that you were doing?
With the prop fuel campaign, we were at this point at the very tail end of our renewal cycle. So we were hard and fast about getting multiple touches out to them. So we probably did it. I think it was kind of like the first touch went out and then the next one went out maybe 3 days to no later than a week. We were very aggressive because of the time of year that, we were anticipating drops, and it was just kind of that last ditch effort. With our current campaign that we're running now with, significantly more time, we kind of have the touches going about every 2 weeks at this point with anticipation of it increasing in December.
Awesome. We've got another question. I'm going to ask this for all 3 guests. Someone was asking about subject lines with their campaigns. So when you guys are developing subject lines, do you have any examples of ones that you have used that have worked well, or any tips for people as they work on subject lines for the campaigns that you had worked on?
I don't
No
necessarily
takers?
have any, like there's no magic subject line. What we find works best is if we just switch it up so you're not using the same subject line and repeat. Our first renewal effort goes out well in advance before like the print campaign would start, and the whole theme of that one is hey, if you renew now, it will actually save our association dollars that we can put back into our mission. And so the subject line of that one is just you can help, and then the way they help is renewing their membership. So that one does have a great response rate, but it's also the first one they're getting. And then all of our other ones will match the tone of the email. So some are as simple as if it's the month they are expiring, it says it's time to renew. But then if we're doing more of a softer approach of like, hey, your active membership really supports our mission, then the subject is going to be, thanks for being on the team. And so we really switch it up.
Yeah, I would add that I asked Savannah to type in on the chat if she had any magic subject lines that unlock everything out there. But I would say that one takeaway that we had as we brought the platform online is to always remember that it is a conversational mechanism. In fact, we find it incredibly helpful from the subject line through the way that the email is set up and the questions to talk through it. If it doesn't feel like it would naturally occur at a cocktail party, in essence, then we're not on the mark. Like the platform's kind of got to resonate with it. So to some what Carrie was saying, that I'd rather have something simple and straightforward because it kind of fits into the way the platform feels versus something that's formal and rigid. So we try to tease that out so that people, when they look at the subject line, know exactly what it is that we're going to be asking them for.
Yeah, we were dare I say, pretty generic with our subject lines. The only one we started with, I believe, was we hadn't heard from you, which was true, as this was a 0-point engagement group that we were reaching out to them. They hadn't unsubscribed from our constant contact. They hadn't been, blocked by us in other ways. It kind of just opened the door. So we hadn't heard from you triggered them to say, what do you mean? I didn't know you were trying to get me in the first place, was a lot of the response we heard.
Yeah, I think with the subject lines, if I'm putting like my membership and marketing hat back on with the association space, I think subject lines are often like simple is usually better. People don't have a lot of time to read emails, let alone long subject lines. And so if you're going to try and get their attention, like keeping it simpler is typically going to be a better approach for it. All right. Any other questions in the chat? I think that was about it. So if we have no further questions, any other tips, tricks, pieces of advice, Halloween fun facts from the guests? All right. Hearing none, I just want to give a big thank you to Carrie, Michael, and Lauren, and Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing all of this information. For those of you who attended, if you have any questions, we have emails of all of the speakers on the slide now. Feel free to reach out and enjoy your Halloween.
Thanks so much, everyone.